Cruise news time, and well, the people have spoken. The votes are in. And I can say this vote is bad for cruises. And I got to tell you about a couple that got straight up shamed by an entertainer on my cruise. Yeah, cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face on a Wednesday the 6th of November, 2024. And yeah, yesterday was the big day. Certainly, there are people that are happy today. There are people that are unhappy today. And it's one of those things. It's one of those things that we go through as a country. As a person of faith, I'm not big into the political process. I vote, like I said, because people have given their lives so that we can vote. But yeah, I'm just praying for peace for everybody today. And like I said, it's good and it's bad, and depending on your perspective, that's how you're going to feel. But we move forward. We move forward, and again, I'm praying for peace for everybody. But we do need to talk about the ramifications of the election yesterday, and specifically, we need to talk about the election in Bar Harbor, Maine. There was a cruise item on the ballot yesterday, and the outcome of that, I feel like, is bad for cruises. On the ballot yesterday was the initiative to increase the limit of cruise passengers in Bar Harbor, Maine on any given day from 1,000 to 3,200 cruise passengers. Also, there was going to be a cap 200,000 cruise passengers per year. You may remember it was just back in 2022 when the town actually voted to impose this 1,000 cruise passenger limit. And well, the people spoke yesterday and they said, nah, we're not going to increase the limit. We're going to keep it exactly as it is. Unofficial results of that vote is 1,776 people voted to keep the 1,000 limit, and 1,713 people voted to increase it to 3,200. So the increasers lost. Ironically, the town doesn't even enforce the 1,000 cruise passenger limit because they're afraid they're going to get sued. It's an interesting thing. I think the result of all of this activity in Bar Harbor, at least if I was the person that was in charge of the cruise company, I would just be less inclined to go to Bar Harbor. You know, most modern cruise ships have more than 1,000 cruise passengers, so that knocks out the mass market lines, your Carnivals, your Norwegians, your Royal. Most of them don't have a cruise ship that only has 1,000 cruise passengers. So again, for me, for the headache of it, I would probably just stop going there. Of course, you know, if they already have things on the books and, you know, they're not enforcing the 1,000 maximum capacity limit right now, then I guess you still go there. But either way, it's bad for cruising. It bums me out as a cruiser because I would love to go to Bar Harbor on a cruise ship. I certainly could drive to Bar Harbor and spend some time there, which I think would be fine, but I like to cruise. It's the will of the people. If they say no more than 1,000, then it's no more than 1,000, but it's kind of a bummer. What do you think? Do you think this is a good or a bad vote there in Bar Harbor? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 2, somewhat related to my travels today. I did get off of the MS Eurodam 7 a.m. this morning, drove back home from Fort Lauderdale. Here I am, what's going on? But look, I tell you what, that was only my 3rd Holland America Line cruise, and I'm impressed every time that I go. And one of the things that impresses me about Holland America Line is its history. And they show that history off pretty well in a show about Holland America's history, about the 150 years of Holland America Line. 150 years is a long time for a company to be around. Of course, it started in the Netherlands. It's a Dutch company, and it really started by being a transport of people that were migrating to the United States. So interestingly, if you had relatives that maybe passed through Ellis Island that came from Europe, there's a good chance that they traveled on a Holland America Line ship. But then eventually it transitioned over to cruising as we know it. But one of the ways ways that they stay connected to their history is they reuse the names of their cruise ships. Like their newest cruise ship, the Rotterdam, is actually the 7th iteration of the Rotterdam. And all that to say, the cruise news story today is that one of their cruise ships is having their 25th birthday. We're talking about the MS Volendam that came into service back in 1999. And this MS Volendam is the 3rd MS Volendam in Holland America Line's history. Interestingly enough, though, the MS Eurodam, I think there's only one. So it's a one of a kind. I say all this because, again, I haven't spent a lot of time on Holland America ships. I didn't get paid to go on the ship. We paid our own way, and we went with family members, just a short 4-day cruise. But I just want to say that this is a different kind of cruising. If you like Celebrity, if you like Princess, give Holland America Line a try. It's not full of, ancient old people as some have stereotyped it. A wonderful time with great food, good entertainment, and a lot of cool spaces to hang out with family. The Crow's Nest, the area for gaming, it's really nice. But yeah, happy birthday, Volendam. Happy 25th birthday. Now, I got to tell you about a little cruise passenger shaming, and we'll see if they were right to be shamed or not right to be shamed. But before we get there, I'd like to quickly invite you. Hold on. Let's do this a little differently. Have you been with La Lita Loca for a while? Do you know what some of my pet peeves are? We're about to get into that. But if you're not, if you haven't, if you don't know what my pet peeves are, then I think I want to implore you. I would love to implore you to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. You just hit the subscribe button, then YouTube will notify you. And you know what it gets you? It keeps you up to date with everything going on in cruising. The jazz hands live beyond me. It's so neat. I was on the ship this week and I had multiple people do the cruise jazz hands to me. Look. Subscribe, notification bell. That way you're in the know. My biggest pet peeves really, are attached to going to the theater. I think the theater is a place where you go and watch a presentation. And because you go and watch a presentation, you watch people who have practiced and are there to perform for your, enjoyment. If you're there for that, then I think there's a social contract at play where you should do some things as an audience member. And one of those things that you should do is not talk during a performance. But I think the biggest thing that annoys me during a performance is when somebody comes in late and they don't just sit in the back. They for some reason, you come into a performance 20, 30 minutes late and you think you still deserve to sit in the first or second row. There might be an empty seat up there, but if you come in 20 or 30 minutes or 5 minutes late, I think you have forfeited your right to sit up close to the stage. It's rude to the audience trying to watch the show. It's rude to the performer performing the show. But on this last cruise, I met a couple. I didn't really meet them. They walked by me during the show. There was a couple that did not believe the same way that I believed. And 20 minutes into a 35-minute show, they wandered up the aisle, in front of the whole theater while the guy was performing and sat right there in the second row. Now, interestingly, the person that was performing was a comedian and he was performing with a dummy. So he was a ventriloquist. And look, if the glasses aren't a dead giveaway, I'll just tell it to you straight. I'm a huge nerd. I love circus arts. I love jugglers and acrobats. I love magicians and I love ventriloquists. And so the thing that I'd never seen before was the ventriloquist using his dummy to shame people. And that's exactly what happened. As this couple made their way to the front of the theater, the dummy started saying, "Hey, you guys doing okay?" But it wasn't the dummy because the dummy's not real. He's not really talking. "Hey, are you guys okay?" And they kind of stopped and they went, "Yeah, we're all right." They kept going to the seat. And as they were starting to sit down, he's like, "Hey, are you sure you don't need anything?" And they got settled in their seat and they're like, no, we don't need anything. And then the dummy kind of leans forward and opens his eyes really big. And he goes, "Well, how about a watch? The show started 20 minutes ago." And I thought it was great, because they were shamed by an inanimate object that was voiced by a talented man that didn't move his lips. I guess we all have our ways of doing things, and that certainly makes sense for ventriloquists to shame people like that. If it were me and I had the power, I would have just banned them. Banned. Do not walk to the front of the stage when you're late for a show. I don't know. It's not going to ruin my cruise or anything like that. It's just simple etiquette. Look, the late show comer is just one of 15 people that are the rudest cruise passengers. Check out the full list here. Thanks for watching the show today. Tony for La Lita Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise News.